Hey folks, welcome back to Only the Best Fantasy Novels. My name is Robin, and today I want to talk about Oath of Gold, the final novel in the Deeds of Paxenarian trilogy, and the best one to date. This series it's very much classic epic fantasy. It's more on the military side of things. It is. I think the real subgenre would be like military fantasy, but these books are shockingly good. Shockingly good. I don't know why I'm surprised, honestly. Like Elizabeth Moon is known as a really good writer, so I'm not sure why I'm so blown away by these books, but I am. So what is Oath of Gold about? Essentially, Pax has endured so much in the last two novels. She's she's survived as a grunt as a boots on the ground soldier in the army of Duke Phelan for so long. She's she started her paladin training before she was embroiled in a quest to locate a stronghold pretty much out of myth and face some dark forces in there. Like she's had some incredible adventures, and at the end of it all, she in addition to that she dealt with so much personal tragedy. Like undergo uh she was forced to undergo think of it as a surgery that effectively left her with PTSD, that left her with what's the fantasy equivalent of traumatic brain injury. Like she was effectively disabled for quite a while, and to this day, like she's still towards the end of the previous book, like she still suffered heavily from PTSD to the point where she was really struggling. Like she went through what so many veterans report going through after they leave an army and they lose that structure, and they've seen these things and they just have trouble readjusting to society, and people are not forgiving of their contributions and their trials and these kind of things. So she went through all of that, and and then we get to this novel where chance encounter sets her on a quest, essentially, to to prove once and for all she is capable of being a paladin of Guard, not in the magical or warrior sense, but also in the political, in the decision making, in the way that she's able to uphold the morals and values of the Fellowship of God, and not only that, she also faces her most terrible trial to date, and it's one that could finally break her once and for all. So, Oath of Gold, honestly, it was just a it was a rough book to read. Like this ending of this book in particular it was some of the most gut wrenching things I've ever read. I think in any fantasy novel. Like I I think there's a pattern here, honestly. Like these books would have been released around the same time when like Mercedes Lackey, like those kind of 80s 90s fantasy, um, when those female authors would have been like writing their stuff. And there's something when I think about this, when I think about Mercedes Lackey, when I think about Robin Hobb, when I think about Juliet Maria, like what is it with torturing these main characters, man? Like, oh my god, what Pax goes through here it's not for the faint of heart. It's truly not for the faint of heart. Um, but make no mistake, this is a very good novel because it kind of shows us just how much Pax has grown, just how much her have shaped her. Um, not just as a person, not just as a part in terms of her skill set, but as like the her character, her morals, and her ideals. Like at the end of the day, Pax is very much a sheep farmer's daughter. Like when she left, when she left her home to join Duke Phelan's company, like she wasn't the most she knew very little about the world. She was still young. She was still very much she wasn't that young, but she was still very much impressionable and able to learn, and that's one key thing about Pax that's made her such a great character. She's able to learn and change and evolve, and she has the ability, like her guide. She has a great guidance star in that she's always able to pick the choice that seems to set her to maybe pick the most ambitious choice then, to kind of elevate herself and make her that much better, that much more yeah, that much better a person. She's always had that skill set, and in this one it's her greatest trial yet, because she goes on a quest for good. She has little to no knowledge or understanding why she does it. She just follows it by instinct, and she's given the opportunity to wield great power, like as great as somebody who was essentially just the child of a farmer could ever possibly hope to take. And she had to decide what choice she would make based on her moral fiber, essentially. So there was that. Like that moment was a defining moment. We saw just how much she's grown. Um, that's not to say like these books are just about like her character. Like they have a lot going on. This book in particular is primarily a quest, because Pax has to locate, for the sake of this empire, Pax has to locate someone who can essentially take the throne, and as part of that, she ends up delving deep into the mystery of what occurred with what caused the lineage to break in the first place, who the real ruler of this kingdom might be, and it led her to delve into mysteries that have been languishing for decades, essentially. And it turns out the pieces were all right there. There was just never anyone who was capable, who had enough enough vision of all the pieces to be able to start piecing it together. Everyone had parts. No one had like an overarching idea of everything that was involved, or the connections that was needed. So that by itself also served to show how much Pax has developed over the years. So there's that. And like I mentioned, this book is not without its trials, because as much as Pax has his quest and she goes through all of this, like as part of it, she endures her most horrific trial to date. And honestly, it was that trial that cemented this book for me. And this series is just such an incredible series. And a truly underrated one among like the fantasy classics. Like, I don't know why I don't hear more people talking about these books. Like, yeah, they're not like super groundbreaking, but they are a bar above a lot of stuff that I've read that's being modern, like published in modern day. And a lot of the things that I see people complaining about loving it and not getting in their books, I do see them in these books. So that's the importance of reading backlists for you kids back home, watching this at home. But yeah, so there's that. And then one of the most intriguing things about this book is that we get a deep dive into a certain character who's kind of been here and there in the story so far, because we as a reader, we could pretty much guess almost off the bat like which direction the story was headed in, and to an extent Pax was able to guess it. But the nice thing about it is that even though you may guess it and you may know how the story is ultimately going to end, it's not without its trials before that happens. Like just because the knowledge is there doesn't mean that there isn't that getting things to play out that the way they want them to is as clear cut or as easy as it is to say it. So there's that. Like this book, it was for me it was a great wrap up to the series, because it kind of showed, it kind of brought things full circle for Pax. It showed just how much he's developed. It showed just the wisdom and the character that she's built over the course of just enduring all these trials to this day. And yeah, like for a reader who like enjoys character driven stuff like me, like it was spectacular. It was spectacular. what can I say? Like I mentioned, if you're like into classic fantasy, if you're willing to give like older fantasy a shot, and this is very much a backlist pick, then this is definitely a series you want to read. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say about the trilogy. There are further books after this, but I'm not sure if I'll read those as yet. But yeah, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.